What is going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. So today, we're going to be talking about the JP news. Once again, Japan just always likes to step up, one up on Global all the time. Every time Global's about to get a huge celebration, Japan's like, hey, yo, hey, don't forget us. You know, Japan's got some good stuff coming too. It's really annoying, but either way, yeah, there's some pretty crazy stuff here because, I mean, we did expect my man Moria to get the Sugo Fest exclusive. We knew this for many months. We knew like back in like early to mid-February that this was coming at some point. We just didn't really know when it was going to happen. People were predicting once we saw the V-Jump stuff, you know, it was a Hachinoso, which is the Pirate Beehive Sugo Fest was coming. Like, yeah, Moria has to arrive during the celebration, especially because we got Treasure Map Shiryu, which we did see a couple weeks back. You know, it just made a lot of sense, right? So he's finally here. What we didn't expect was him to be debuting alongside a brand new Sugo Fest exclusive Blackbeard. That's kind of crazy, and I mean, he's a dual unit of all things, and you have a look at his little icon here, you got Blackbeard, and his hand is the other unit, which is kind of cool. I mean, people are gonna make jokes about that, but either way, like, it is actually cool, because this is something that people have been wanting for a long time, is a Blackbeard that can switch between his Devil Fruit powers, and that's exactly what we're getting with this brand new Blackbeard character. So, debuting Moria and Blackbeard. Let's jump into it. Massive shout out to Koala-san for the translations on the One Piece Treasure Cruise Reddit. Let's get into it. Moria is going to be our first candidate here. Moria is going to be an int powerhouse driven character. He is a super type character, as you can see. Captain effect boosts driven and powerhouse characters attacked by 5 times with a matching slot, 4.5 times otherwise, 1.3 health. At the end of each turn, you heal 0.5 times his recovery for each perfect that you hit. And at the end of the turn, at the end of the enemy turn, should I say, it heals 50% of the total recovery of the crew, times the number of enemies defeated with normal attacks. It's pretty good. Okay, there's lots of things to talk about here. Obviously, the fact that he's a super type character, but he's not an int captain. A lot of people are going to say, oh, that's really strange, but that's actually, like, not bad at all, because, I mean, like, look, he's a 5 times captain to 2 separate classes, Driven and Powerhouse. That is really good, and of course, with recent stuff that has just come out with Versus Akainu, also being a Driven Powerhouse captain, we had Legend Magellan, who is a Powerhouse unit, very, very good unit, by the way, and now we have this, and also Blackbeard, which we'll talk about in a little bit, all being Driven and Powerhouse related. Driven and Powerhouse is kind of nuts right now, dude. There's so much going on for them. So, yeah, 5 times boost with a matching slot is not a problem at all. And then 4.5 times just all the time, right? So he doesn't boost any other class or type. It's only Driven and Powerhouse. So, of course, you know, if you bring int characters that happen to be Driven and Powerhouse, that obviously is best case scenario because they get affected by super type. If not, it's not the biggest deal. I mean, we see like with Goldie Roger, right? Goldie Roger is a rainbow captain that's also a super type. Well, yeah, you know, obviously side characters get access to super type is obviously really good, but at the end of the day, he's a rainbow captain. And then we see with this guy, you know, obviously bringing int characters is going to be ideal, but he's a Driven and Powerhouse captain at the end of the day, right? So you see what I'm saying? He's a great captain because you get lots of healing every time you hit a perfect, and every time you kill something, you're healing back as well. And if you're on double Moria, I'm pretty sure this is going to account for 100% of your crew's total recovery. That is pretty awesome. Every time you kill something, and you have an additional health boost on top of that, this guy's really good. He's going to be very, very good for high difficulty content, right? Now, his special ability will go ahead and change all orbs into matching. It does not get rid of block orbs, though. That is a slight problem with this guy. But either way, he changes all other orbs into matching. For 1 turn, boost the orbs of Driven and Powerhouse characters by 2.5. And for 1 turn, nullify damage over 2,000 damage from each enemy. That is really good. I mean, especially every time you heal, every time you hit a perfect, every time you kill something, you heal. You got a pretty decent HP pool there. You basically, when you launch this special, you're probably not going to die at all, especially because it says it nullifies damage. It doesn't reduce damage like a damage threshold. This is like, if any damage exceeds 2,000, it's nullified. So you'll take a maximum of 2,000 damage from an enemy, right? Which is so good. And it says after 1 turn has passed, you get a color affinity boost to Driven and Powerhouse, 2.25 times boost. Really good, man. I mean, there's not really much about this unit that I don't like so far. I think everything is really good. The only problem is he doesn't get rid of block orbs. That is kind of annoying, but even if that's the case, you'll have to bring another unit to remove it, or, you know, you could just go ahead and use a support, depending on what kind of supports you can run on your team, right? I think it's good. Now, his super type condition requires you to bring a crew that only consists of Driven and Powerhouse characters. That's not too bad, because obviously if you're going to use him as a captain to get access to super type, you want to make sure you're running Driven and Powerhouse characters. So, I mean, the condition is a little weird, but it's not that bad at all. especially because you have 2 classes to fulfill. You don't have to bring just Driven or just Powerhouse. This is not too bad. And his condition, or his special, should I say, is 75 times his attack in typeless damage to all enemies, -1 cooldown to Powerhouse and Driven, and give your crew an orb lock. This is okay. It's not the most broken super type special in the game, but it's not bad. You can use it for wave clear and minus cooldown, so you can use it to kind of like speed farm content. Or if you're on like a mini boss stage, you use his special to get a full board of matching slots. You can lock those orbs, of course. You get cooldown to your team. You do damage. I can see where this is going to be useful. I don't think it's the best, but it's okay. If he changed block orbs as well and then allowed you to lock them, that'd be kind of funky. But the fact he doesn't do that, I mean, it is what it is. I think it's actually still not bad at all. I like it. I actually really like this Moria unit. Not a problem at all, honestly, from my eyes anyway. Sailor Effect 1 reduces 1 turn of special seal on the entire team. That's fantastic. Krug will treat all int orbs as beneficial. Also very good. He has heal block reduction, which is recovery bind, right? Yeah, it's just recovery bind, not heal block. 5 turns of heal block. Orb seal or slot bind is 7 turns, and pinch healing 50% or lower, 1.5 when hit a perfect. That's great because you got pinch healing plus healing mechanics. Not a problem there at all. Support effect attaches to any int character that is also driven. So it's a little bit specific. It has to be an int driven unit. But on the final stage, driven characters get a 1.5 times color affinity boost. I like that. That's very, very good. Pyrumble effects, 1700 fixed damage at large range, 100% chance to halve the stats of 3 enemies. That is not bad. Not too bad at all. And his passive is int allies get level 5 HP, level 3 defense from the start of the battle for the first 30 seconds, level 3 CT charge rate up. Is that for all int allies or just for himself? I assume that's all int allies. This is actually insane. This is an amazing passive. Level 5 HP, level 3 defense. Dude, this alongside V1 Doflamingo, whoo! That's gonna be kind of juicy, man. It's gonna be kind of juicy. Alright. Yeah, so it is what it is. That's the breakdown of Moria. Really tanky, lots of healing, orb boost, color affinity, matching slots. He's super tight special, orb block, -1 cooldown, does a bit of damage. Overall, I think he's a solid ass unit, dude. But we have someone else to talk about. Now, this is probably going to take up a large discussion in this video. I wanted to get this done as quick as possible, but it doesn't look like it's going to be the case. Blackbeard is driven powerhouse. He is an int character all the way through, int driven powerhouse. So this unit is super bizarre, man. This might take a little while. I mean, look, this is all just his captain effect alone, right? So his dual captain effect. We'll talk about that first. Driven and powerhouse characters get 5 times attack. That's very good. HP, 1.75 times health. That's a lot of health. After taking damage from the enemy, minus his own cooldown by 2 turns. Very reminiscent of super type Blackbeard. At the start of each stage, cut the enemy HP by 10%, all enemies HP by 10%. It ignores damage negating effects, base defense, and normal attacks only. The second character in the game that just ignores normal attacks only. So every time you enter a stage, even if you already have normal attacks only inflicted on your team, you still reduce the HP by 10%. It's kind of like Kaido, how every time you enter a new stage, you get a 20% health cut, but of course, this actually will just bypass normal attacks only. It is only 10% health cut, though. Now, this effect is something that we haven't seen in the game yet. I have a little bit more information to talk about regarding this, right? It says, whenever a crew member triggers a special effect that gives you and your team a rainbow shield, so damage reduction, so a character special that's like, reduce damage taken by 80% for 1 turn. So that type of special. A threshold damage reduction, which is like, you know, like Inazuma Rare Recruit, where it says, any damage that exceeds 3,000, reduce it by 97% or whatever it is. Or any nullified damage. So, I actually can't remember off the top of my head who nullifies. Oh, like Legend Robin, for example. Legend Robin says, you take no damage for 1 turn. So, any unit that does that type of ability with reducing damage, it just says, regardless of the number of turns, even if it's like, reduce damage taken for 10 turns or something, it automatically changes it to, for 1 turn, boost the attack of driven and powerhouse characters by 2 times. What? Like, legit what? I read this and I was so confused. Like, why? Why? Like, this is so weird because, like, I mean, it doesn't mention it here. I mean, this might be a little bit of a mistranslation. But you'll see that in their singular captain effect, it's a 4 times boost to the class, still 1.75 health, but it says 1.5 times increased damage taken. I'm not really too sure if when he becomes the dual unit, he just outright removes that. If that's the case, that's actually not too bad. And you also see here, half the crew's recovery. So in the singular form, they get half recovery, 1.5 times increased damage taken, and obviously in the driven form, the Yami Yami no Mi, you'll get -2 cooldown every time you take damage, and the rest of the effect is the exact same as the dual unit, where if you have a special that does damage reduction, threshold, or nullify damage, it becomes 2 times attack boost to those 2 classes for 1 turn instead. So his Gura form does not reduce his own cooldown every time he gets hit. Instead, it's going to cut the enemy's HP by 10% to all enemies at the start of each stage, ignores defensive effects, defense, and normal attacks only. So you either get the health cut or you get the -2 cooldown depending on which form that you're in. You still get increased damage taken, lots of health, and 4 times boost to those 2 classes. Very, very strange. Now, to talk more about this, shout out to Repio, OPTC, who posted this image a little earlier. So that's his captain effect. But it gives you a little bit of an infographic as to how this works. So this is the Blackbeard as the captain, right? As the captain, any damage reduction, threshold, or damage nullification becomes an attack boost. But then there's a little bit of an example here with a unit that does an orb boost and also damage reduction. It says here that only the damage reduction will be changed into an attack boost. So any unit that does, like in this example with this Virgo, who's an orb booster and a damage reduction unit, now becomes an orb booster and an attack booster. So you can see that there's lots of really cool ways that you can kind of abuse this, but there's also other ways that maybe it might not be so good, because any character that does damage reduction and an attack boost, and you see for this is Legend Judge 6+, he gives you 2 turns of damage reduction and he's an attack boost to a powerhouse fighter and driven. Now, the attack boost that Blackbeard provides with his captain effect overrides the attack boost of the withstanding character's attack. So if you've got a character that does an attack boost plus any type of damage reducing effect, the damage reducing effect will be changed to whatever the attack boost is of Blackbeard. So you can see that it's both good and bad in different situations, and obviously it means that when you're using Blackbeard as a captain, you don't want to be tanking damage. That's going to be really, really bad for you if you're going to be tanking damage, right? Especially in his singular form with 1.5 times increased damage taken. So you got 2 different units here. You got Moria, who is based around doing lots of damage whilst also recovering your health, whereas Blackbeard's a bit different, where he is definitely offensively based and you don't really want to be taking any damage with him, but he's just got a really, really crazy health pool. But one thing that we haven't talked about is his special and his switch effect, right? His special ability will say for 1 turn you get a 1.0 chain boost. I think that's pretty good. When the captain is driven or powerhouse, extend 1 turn of attack up or orb boost on the crew. How many times have we seen this type of effect on a unit and it's completely useless, right? Just this type of effect I really just do not enjoy, because, you know, it just means that it only really sees a lot of play if you use 2 specials in 1 turn, which obviously doesn't help because you're getting a chain boost, so you can't stack double chain boost, which is annoying. But this just says, you know, it means any 2-turn boost becomes a 3-turn boost instead. Whereas like with his captain effect, you know, for 1 turn, boost attack of driven and powerhouse characters by 2 times. I guess another really cool thing that you can kind of get around is like this actually will allow you to get around any interrupts that interrupt attack boosts, and there's probably going to be content that's surrounded by that, isn't there? I can almost guarantee it. But like this is just super annoying, because any 1-turn boost will just become a 2-turn boost, and it becomes just redundant when you move into a next stage with a preemptive attack. So that's what I don't like. But then there's an added effect that says depending on the total accumulated damage, you become the dual unit for a minimum of 3 turns, but the dual unit can last for up to 8 turns if you've taken up to 50,000 damage. This is also pretty crazy. That's also a good and bad thing, right? Because the longer you're in the dual form for, obviously you've got the better captain effect, but it means you get less time to use the switch effect, which states that he completely removes his own special seal and despair on himself and changes his own orb into a matching slot, including block orbs, right? That's pretty good. Guaranteed matching slot on himself, no matter what, and he'll always be able to launch his special, no matter how much special seal, fear debuff, despair, whatever it is. He's always able to launch his special so long as you can use his switch effect, which I think is pretty dope. That's actually really strong. As for him as a sailor, it's basically just stat boost. He treats color orbs as beneficial for himself, which is okay. He's got enrage, he's got critical hit, and barrier penetration. I love that he has barrier penetration. That's really good. In Pirate Rumble, double attack in a large range to all enemies, level 5 speed down for 20 seconds. That's pretty good. All enemies will get level 5 speed down. Okay, so yeah, it's 2 times attack in large range, and 100% chance to put movement seal on 2 enemies that have more than 80% CT. I love this. This is actually super good, because it's really annoying sometimes when you have a chance to movement seal characters, but you movement sealed the wrong unit, and then the character that has their special ready to go just blows you away. But with Blackbeard on your team, you're like guaranteed to just stop those units that are about to attack you, which I love. That's actually super, super good. That's really clean. I love that they're introducing these random new mechanics for these Pirate Rumble units. And his ability is Driven and Powerhouse. Allies get level 5 attack, level 5 health, and all enemies get level 3 speed down. Not too bad. Immune to special shield and movement seal, right? So Blackbeard and Moria, man, I don't know how to feel about it. I think Blackbeard, I like his mechanics, but honestly, I don't know. I'm not really the biggest fan of this unit in general. He just seems like a really weird playstyle and not the type of playstyle that I would typically enjoy. But then again, like with the powerful units of Versus Akainu and Magellan that have been coming out, it just makes Blackbeard and Moria even better than what they already are currently, which I really, really do like. It's kind of interesting the way they've built these units, but I don't really know, man. I do like Moria a bit more. I like his captain effect a lot. But look, if I'm going to be building a Driven and Powerhouse team, I'm likely going to be using a Kainu versus unit as the captain compared to even these units, man. But I do like that they're introducing some pretty interesting mechanics either way. There's a free-to-play Jesus Burgess, which is this guy right here. Oddly enough, it's from Dressrosa, which is like whatever. But either way, it reduces 1 turn of barriers, which is good. Consume block orbs, and depending on the number of block orbs, you deal int damage to one enemy. After dealing damage, you change empty slots into matching, so basically it changes block orbs into matching at the end of the day. And if the captain is Driven or Fighter, you boost attack of Driven and Fighter by 1.75 times. It's okay. Nothing too crazy. It's fine. It's whatever. It doesn't look like he's got anything too special. Psyops are beneficial to Driven and Fighter. Vasco's Shot, which is his first unit in the game, by the way. Vasco's Shot will... both these units, by the way, the Jesus Burgess and the Vasco Shot are free-to-play units. Vasco's Shot reduces 4 turns of Despair and Special Bind, 4 turns of Threshold, and for 3 turns, you heal 7 times his recovery at the end of the turn, and for 3 turns, reduce incoming damage by 50%. So, remember, if you're using Blackbeard as your captain, this reduced incoming damage by 50% for 3 turns. It's not a 3-turn attack boost. It'll be a 1-turn, 2 times attack boost. So yeah, this will just be removed for an attack boost instead, which, in theory, that actually makes this unit actually, like, insanely good. And reduce 5 turns. It's weird. Reduce 5 turns of Special Seal, but remove it only by 4? Why? Why, Bandai? Why do you do this, man? Okay, now, Avalo Pizarro, this guy, also the first unit he's getting in One Piece Treasure Cruise, which is dope. Avalo Pizarro heals 7,000 HP, reduce 4 turns of bind and attack down. Why is it 4? Why is it not 5, Bandai? For 1 turn, drastically reduce damage over 5,000 for each enemy, which again, this will be changed into an attack boost with Blackbeard as your captain. And for 1 turn, boost Orbs of Powerhouse and Driven by 2 times. Wow, okay. So this unit under Blackbeard is heal, a little bit of utility, and then he's going to give you 1 turn of 2 times Orbs, 2 times attack. Woo, it's pretty good. I like that. I like that a lot. Recovery Orbs treated as beneficial too. Nice. Now, Katarina Devon, also getting her first unit in One Piece Treasure Cruise. So, Katarina Devon reduced 4 turns of defense up, % damage reduction, and end of turn healing on the enemies. Why is it 4? Why is it 4, man? For 1 turn, reduce incoming damage by 80% for 1 turn, which of course will be changed into an attack boost, and then boost the orbs of Driven and Slashes by 2 times. So, yeah, 2 times orbs, 2 times attack. Under Blackbeard, which is actually pretty good. If the captain's Driven, int orbs are beneficial. Okay. And that's it. That's all the new characters, just like briefly going through the other ones, but I really wanted to take the time to talk about the brand new Blackbeard and the brand new Moria in much greater detail, because those are obviously the more interesting units here. Let me know your thoughts and opinions about this one. I'm really conflicted as to how I feel about this Blackbeard. I like that they're taking risks with these units and making them very obscure, but sometimes when they take the risks and make units super obscure, that sometimes may not always be for the better. But I think he's going to be a good unit. Don't get me wrong. He's going to be very good. But it's a matter of, like, would I rather use this guy over Versus Akainu, over Moria? I don't know, man. I feel like Versus Akainu's got something going on already that I kind of like a little bit more than this Blackbeard. Plus, one thing about this Blackbeard that I don't like, it's kind of hard to get matching slots, right? There's no, like, way in his captain effect to get matching slots, which, you know, even with a raw captain effect, that's going to be, you know, pretty decent multiplier. If you don't have matching slots, that's obviously going to be a pretty big downer. Whereas, you know, with Versus Akainu, you know, generating so many more quick slots, I think is a little bit more beneficial. But man, I apologize for this video being as long as it is, just to talk about these units, but I wanted to get and convey this information because I know a lot of people are going to be having questions about it. Very, very obscure, but let me know your thoughts and opinions about Blackbeard and Gekko Moria, Sugo Fest exclusive characters. They should be debuting, I think, in the next week or so, but either way. No, it's in the next couple of days. I think it's on the 27th PST time. No, not PST time. It's 27th on Japan time. But anyways, hopefully you enjoyed this one. And if you guys did, make sure you go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But other than that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.